Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year. Happy 2024. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing well because it's the first day of a new year, and that means a new year of amazing music. 2023 had some great albums from, old classics, old standards for me, and then I was introduced to a lot of new artists, and I'm excited to kind of keep that momentum going for the new year. So for this video, I sort of looked ahead at what artists have announced albums coming out so far this year with release dates. There's been some mentions of others, but with no firm dates yet or titles. So I've made a top 10 list, or a list of 10 artists with release dates and the album titles that I'm looking forward to. Now, some of these are kind of newer to me artists. And again, some are artists I've listened to for a couple of years or a number of years. And it's pretty cool because this list, it only goes up to March, because I think, bands are not going to announce things too far ahead of time. We're not all going to pull a Peter Gabriel or something. But just looking at like 10 great albums I'm looking forward to within the first 3 months of 2024, I think it's shaping up to be a really cool year. And it's a very diverse list. So I've organized this chronologically, not in any order of kind of preference or whatever. So let's get started. So January 19th, we've got Saxon, Hell, Fire, and Damnation. Despite missing the Oxford comma, I'm willing to apologize for that. Give them a freebie. Saxon are a band I've only really gotten into in the last couple of years as I've wanted to delve more into classic heavy metal and kind of heavy metal as an encapsulated genre. And I would say they've got their classic albums that are older, and their latest batch, like the last three albums I've heard, are really, really cool. And I'm really excited to see where the band goes next. Their last album that came out, I think it was this year, was amazing. So I'm really, really pumped to see where they go next for that. And then same day is Green Day Saviors, January 19th. Now, their last album, I did not like. It was super short. They were going for like a garage rock with a very kind of polished sheen over top. It just didn't work across the board, in my opinion. Now, I've heard the singles for this. There is obviously a lot of studio processing going on. When you listen to, especially the vocal work, you can hear that there's a lot of help happening. But then you hear the band live, and they don't need it. So I don't know why that production choice is being made. But the songs are really, really cool. They remind me a little bit of Warning and a little bit of American Idiot, kind of that transitionary period with the band. Still kind of got that great kind of drum and bass that sort of chugs along. Very, very melodic. And I'm excited to kind of give this one a listen. I think they're going back into the right direction. So I'm excited to give that a try. So that's January 19th. January 26th is Lucifer's fifth album called Five. Lucifer, again, are a newer band for me. Got into them over the past couple of years. Kind of occult, doom metal, hard rock. If you're into, Black Sabbath, Fleetwood Mac, mush them together. That's what Lucifer is. Fantastic band. They were just in the area on tour with Coven. I didn't get a chance to catch them. I was in Vancouver the day before for a different concert, but not that one. And it just wasn't, financially feasible to stay the extra day across the island and all that. But really, really cool band. Really excited to see where they go next. Lucifer 4 was a great album, and I'm pumped to hear the next one. Same day, January 26th, we have Wall of Eyes from The Smile. Radiohead are one of my favorite bands. They have been for a very, very long time, getting on to a little over 20 years. And A Moon-Shaped Pool is my favorite album of theirs. If that's the last Radiohead official album we get, I'm okay with that. I think A Moon-Shaped Pool is a great album. The Smile, it sort of scratches that Radiohead itch. Which is good. It's a different direction. It's almost like if the band that made Pablo Honey and the Bends kind of kept up with current trends, stuff like that. That's how I would kind of think of The Smile. It's that original band doing, I'm describing Radiohead. It's that original band, but they're doing what Radiohead is doing now. And I know that that's a weird thing to say, but that's kind of how I think of The Smile. So the debut, it took a while for me to kind of appreciate what they were doing with it. I think I wasn't just expecting the next Radiohead record instead of something different. So I'm excited to get into this one with kind of a more open mind. For February, I've only got one album listed for February. And again, that's just because that's all that's been announced, is Steve Hackett's The Circus and the Night Whale. Steve Hackett, obviously, previous guitarist for Genesis, had a great run of kind of live albums this year and kind of re-recorded sessions. Now, I really like the idea of this concept album, And I like, proggy elements. I like the production direction that he's added to a lot of his recent recordings. So I'm really excited to give this one a listen. I think that's probably one that will benefit greatly from a nice vinyl treatment, nice deluxe packaging with lots of cool artwork. So I'm excited to maybe pick it up. Maybe we'll see. Now we're getting into March for the last 5. So March is a packed month. I'm excited for March. There's a lot of cool stuff coming out. First up for March 1st is Big Big Train, The Likes of Us. So if you're into Genesis or the more sort of pastoral progressive rock bands, by pastoral, sometimes people that take that to mean sleepy or boring. I usually just mean it to be very evocative, very kind of calming, and folky, but not folky as in the music, but folky as in kind of the term. So The Likes of Us for March 1st will be their newest album, and I'm really excited to listen to that one. Next, also on March 1st, is Playing Favorites by Sheermag. Sheermag are a band I heard for the first time, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years ago or so. If you're into like power pop, garage rock, kind of, along the veins of the Pretenders or something like that, give Sheermag a try. They're a rockin' group, and that sounds like a really passive thing to say, but there's a group I'm going to call rockin'. It's Sheermag, so really check it out. They've put out the title track on their Bandcamp, so you can give that a listen. Really cool stuff. Next, March 8th is Bleachers, their self-titled album, Bleachers. Now, Jack Antonoff is kind of the leader and lead singer and guitar player for the Bleachers. He's well known as a songwriter, does collaborations with pretty much everyone, every pop artist, but notably Taylor Swift. And you can sometimes hear that with a lot of the vocal melodies in his music. If you listen to the track like Roller Coaster, for instance, from previous albums, you get a lot of those sort of vocal like highs and then lows. But he's just a really, really great songwriter. Very, again, it doesn't sound like a compliment, but when I call someone a very clear and calculated pop rock star with an image, I think that doesn't mean that he's phony and fake. I think it means he understands what it means to be a celebrity, how you present yourself. And again, I don't mean that in a phony way. I mean that there's a clear artistic direction and he executes it brilliantly. So it's very kind of singer-songwritery in the rock vein. So think of like Bruce Springsteen, throw in a lot of those other soul pop groups from the 80s, so like Hall & Oates, kind of put those together, and I think that's the sound you're going for. The track Modern Girl, oh, I love it. It's the first track I listened to for 2024. It's a great, again, very Bruce Springsteen-y dance rock number, and I love it. It's super catchy, super fantastic. Back into the heavy metal vein, so March 8th as well, we have Judas Priest with Invincible Shield. Their last album, their 2018 release, one of their best, which is, it's definitely like a late career, not comeback necessarily, but a late career highlight. And we've had 2 singles so far. They're both fantastic tracks. So I'm really excited to hear Judas Priest's kind of next step in their career. It's fantastic. And then we're going to finish March off with the final release from Canadian kind of heavy alt rock pop punk band Sum 41. With the double album Heaven X Hell, Heaven and Hell. So there's the Heaven side, which is kind of their pop punk stuff, more accessible stuff, and then the Hell side, which will be their more hard rock and metal aspects. And we've had 2 singles from this album so far. We've had Landmines, which is a catchy pop punk number, and then Rise Up, which is one of their Hell numbers, which the opening of the track I wasn't super sold, but then when it gets into some of the breakdowns and the bridges, they got me there, and the video is a lot of fun as well. And my hope is they'll have a tour announcement to go with this album release. I'd love to catch them on their final tour. If you've watched some of my other videos, I'm going through their entire discography, not even because I'm the biggest fan of the band in the world. In fact, I talked about it. I only really listened to their first 3 albums, and then they kind of dropped off for me. But it's been a really fun project, kind of deep diving into the band's history and the album's history as well. So there you have it. First 3 months of 2024. These are all albums I'm really excited to listen to. I've got pre-orders in on a couple of them. Definitely going to add these to my streaming lists and social media, so I remember to check it out when they are released. And that's what I got for 2024 so far. But I want to hear from you because, the genres I listen to, these are the artists. But if I go through lists, there's tons of artists with stuff coming out. But I just I'm not familiar with it. So I want to know what's coming out that you're excited for. And even anything like a tour too. I want to know what tours you're excited for. Any artists coming by your area. But with that said, I'm off to listen to some great tunes from this last year and looking forward to 2024. Have a good one. Bye.